Right, now let's talk about AFC Wimbledon, who had their Carabao Cup game against Newcastle postponed because of flooding. I mean, James, you were there. Just bring us up to date on the situation and what happened.
Well, it was absolutely devastating news, the fact they weren't able to host Newcastle last night. It would have been the biggest day, an event that stadium had hosted. Only a few years old, the new Cherry Red Records Stadium on Plough Lane, just a few metres away from the original site where the Dons did so well back in the 90s and early 80s as well. But the entire stadium was underwater on Monday. I lived down the road from it and the park near us was flooded. Couldn't take the dog out. But bigger problems for AFC Wimbledon and their stadium. You look at that pitch, it is just decimated, that one corner of the pitch. There was nearly 100,000 litres of water they had to remove from the stadium. Going there yesterday, even the change room, there's still standing water in the change room. In the offices, they've got all the belongings up on tables because it's still so damp there. But there's been so many volunteers, there's been so many people desperate to try and help sort out the situation and get AFC Wimbledon and that stadium back to where it needs to be. So they're still conducting an investigation as to how this happened. But the River Wandle, which is just a few metres away from the stadium, the banks burst for the first time in 60 years. So that was one of the main factors for that. And so whether or not you think they could have prevented that, I'm not so sure, because it's not something that you'd expect. So the investigations that are going on now, I've just spoken to their managing director, James Woodroof, and there's diggers that are going in there this morning to try and excavate that area of the pitch we saw just there, which does almost look like a bunker on a golf course. It almost looks like a CGI image that's been created, not quite what you witnessed, but we're able to walk on the pitch yesterday and see the damage. And it is quite horrific, actually, the situation the pitch is in at the moment. But there's an amazing spirit at AFC Wimbledon. Nearly £100,000 has been raised already on the GoFundMe page, which was set up by a fan on Monday. Newcastle have donated £15,000. And the silver lining for AFC Wimbledon is, yes, they can't host Newcastle, but next week they'll go to St James's Park. There'll be plenty of coaches put on by the club to get the fans up there, and because of the way it works in terms of revenue share, they'll get at least 45% of the revenue. So AFC Wimbledon are encouraging all the Newcastle fans to attend the game, because if more than 40,000 fans attend, then that could make a huge difference when it comes to filling the void from lost match revenue, and of course it's going to cost a serious amount to try and fix that pitch as well.
Filling the actual void at Plough Lane, the sinkhole.
Exactly. So the diggers will be there this morning trying to excavate that bit of damage. But I think one thing the club are keen to point out there, it's so overwhelmed really by the generosity of supporters in terms of wanting to put money back into the club to help, but also those volunteering. On Monday they almost had to keep some of the fans away because they were so desperate to come and help, but at that point they needed to sort of monitor the situation. But the club, everyone there, so positive about the future, and I think there's no doubt that they'll be bouncing back sometime soon.
Yeah, well, we heard from James Woodruff on Sky Sports News yesterday. I mean, you got any idea in terms of sort of time frame, how long this would take to fix the pitch, etc., and where they might play their league games, James?
So this weekend they're due to be taking on Accrington in League Two at home, and it's clear that the pitch won't be in a position for them to play there. So they're working on a number of different potential solutions. They want to be able to host that game somewhere in London this weekend, because they've got off to a great start in League Two. They're looking to get promoted this season. They don't want to halt that momentum, and they want to get that game on. They want to give the fans something to cheer about, even though it won't be at their home stadium. And they've then got a few away matches. We mentioned the one against Newcastle next week, but then their next home match actually takes place on the 12th of October against Carlisle, and they're seeing that as the aim. Let's see if we can get football back on the 12th of October against Carlisle. Everybody's working towards that date. Whether or not it's realistic or not, we'll probably find out in the next 24, 48 hours about how damaged that pitch is and how quickly they can repair it. But everybody there, they all want to get football back at the stadium. And so I don't doubt against them. They've got an incredible spirit there, AFC Wimbledon. This won't put them down. They've been put down so much over the course of the last 30 years. This, a small issue with the pitch, that's not going to stop them making the progress they're going to make over the next few years.
OK, these pictures, gosh, just in. We brought you the story of the damage that was caused to AFC Wimbledon's pitch following flooding. Work has begun to repair it. They're excavating the damaged playing surface. The club's still hopeful of taking on Accrington Stanley this weekend in League Two. They're working on an alternate potential venue to host the fixture. The next scheduled home match following that is against Carlisle on October the 12th. They're doing their utmost to ensure they can fulfil that fixture at their home ground.